Hello, welcome to Bard's Guide, the YouTube channel of my blog bardsguide.com, which is teaching you how to become a digital entrepreneur. Now, I'm sorry I haven't posted any videos for the last couple of weeks because of personal reasons. I may be getting into those reasons in a later video, but for now, let's get into it. The topic of this video is how to deal with your clients on social media. When you own a web shop or you're a freelancer or consultant, your clients may reach you on your social media platforms when they have a question, a problem, or they just want to compliment you. The way to deal with questions or problems on your social media is also called web care. I myself have worked for years in a web care or social media department of a large internet provider in my country, which gives me some much needed experience in this department and how you can deal with customers on your social media. Now, as you may know, this is a phenomenon that has been around for about 10 years, I think. Mainly with the introduction with social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter and also smartphones. It basically means a return to the word of mouth for businesses. It used to be the case when you have a corner shop or neighborhood shop. The owner of that shop needs to have a good reputation, and maintain a good reputation with the customers in his neighborhood, in his street. Because if one or two customers who live near him have a bad experience with that shop, which isn't resolved, then the whole neighborhood will know about this and they will think twice about buying products or service with this shop. The same principle applies now for the last 10 years with companies online. Every mistake or good thing you do is visible. In this video I will give you some pointers on how to deal with your clients and how not to deal with your clients online. First off, I will give an example on how you don't deal with your clients online. No beards allowed. A couple of years back, one of the largest music stores in the old town of Groningen, where I lived in the north of Holland, put out an advert, a job application, which said, looking for a salesperson, motivated, doesn't smoke, and doesn't have a beard. Now, this is a shop which caters much to people who like rock music or metal, people who have beards. So there was a big commotion on their social media platform, mainly on their Facebook page. If they, most people weren't that mad, but they were a bit bemused by this advert. So I have a beard, am I not welcome in the shop anymore? Now, if the shop owners had answered these complaints and questions with either a sense of humor or some empathy and sympathy, this small social media storm would have blown over very fast. But I think it was the wife of the owner or one of the managers answered in a very irritated and snarky way, basically saying, how dare you criticize us? So now it became national news. Musicians all over the country were stating on their Facebook page that they would never step one foot inside the shop. Now, this is the kind of publicity you don't need as a business owner, especially when you could have fixed this pretty easily. What I mean by this, when you're dealing with clients either through a web shop or through consulting, public relations is a big part of it. Doesn't mean you don't have to make any mistakes. You can't make any mistakes ever, but you have to be seen dealing with mistakes or questions or complaints in a professional, friendly and polite manner. So, giving an example on how not to do customer service, let's get into it. First off, when a customer reaches you through your social media, be polite, sympathetic and friendly at all times. There is an exception when your tone of voice or your personal brand is more edgy or more cocky. Then you're allowed to get away with somewhat more leeway to be more confrontational with your clients. There are a couple of companies who are not afraid to speak their mind. For instance, CD Red, the software company who made The Witcher and who's now making Cyberpunk 2077, is a company that isn't afraid to speak its mind to customers who ask silly questions. So if that's your personal brand or tone of voice, don't be afraid to be a little bit edgy. But for most companies, be friendly, polite and sympathetic at all times. Doesn't mean you have to be a pushover, but remain friendly, polite and sympathetic. After that, when a customer comes to you with a complaint, deal with the pain and inconvenience the customer first, or the pain and inconvenience the customer has experienced first before getting to the problem. This was a mistake I made a lot when I worked at a web care company. Customer came to me with a complaint and I was like, oh, we can fix this easily, let's do this. But the customer has experienced some inconvenience, however slight or however big, with this problem. And he or she wants to be heard first, many times. There are some customers who think, well, I have a problem, I want it fixed, you can fix it, oh fast, thank you, goodbye. That's okay, but there are many customers who first want to be heard. Deal with that first. Speak to the customer how it inconvenienced them. Don't give platitudes or, oh, I'm sorry. But get into the pain first. After that, manage expectations. There are a couple of things you have to do with regards to managing expectations. First, especially when you're a small company, make sure the customer knows in what timely fashion he or she can expect an answer. When you're a company of one or you only have a couple of employees, you may not have the time to answer every question on social media within an hour, as we did. It may take a day or 2 days. Make sure you put up a notice on your social media platforms, if possible, on the time frame where a client can expect an answer. Be very clear and concise on how and when you can fix a problem. Be transparent about the kind of service you can offer. Don't offer the moon if you can't supply it. Maybe if you have the resources, hire outside help to get your customer service on a higher level. You can hire virtual assistants for that. More on that later. Besides that, use your creativity to offer an alternative solution. Sometimes you can't fix, you don't have the ability to fix a straightforward problem. For instance, when a customer wants your business to offer certain guarantees that technically aren't feasible. When I worked at the internet provider, it's about 3-4 years ago, there were a couple of customers who complained about having people were complaining that their smartphones weren't working properly when riding in a train. Now when you're traveling fast in either a train or a car, at that time, the cell towers, many times your smartphone would try to connect to 2 cell towers at the same time, or you were traveling so fast, no cell tower could connect to your phone properly. This is called the near-far problem. Maybe this is fixed with 5G, but at the time with 3G and 4G, we couldn't guarantee a proper connection when you were traveling in a fast motor vehicle, like a train or a car. And people were asking for a proper connection, but we couldn't guarantee it. How did we fix this? Well, that problem we couldn't fix. But there were other things we could do for the client. Maybe offer a small discount, or offer them to test a new product, or give them what we call a random act of kindness, a small gift. Try to get in the client's head. Okay, I can't fix this problem, but maybe there's something else I can help the customer with. Try to use your creativity, do some research on the client, or maybe discuss with the client if there's other things that he or she needs that you can provide. Many times there's an alternative solution. Now, when you can't fix the problem and there's no alternative solution, no is a viable answer. But explain why. Maybe the client asks for a service you just can't or won't offer, or ask for a product that isn't made anymore for a couple of years and you don't have any stock of it. Or another example is when the customer asks for a product or service just too expensive for you to offer. You won't make any money of it. Well, nobody expects you not to make money. There's an example in Gary Vaynerchuk's book, The Thank You Economy. I would highly recommend reading that if you want to do excellent customer service on your social media. The example is the following. A famous large American restaurant chain were offering a vegetarian option, but because they were making a loss on this vegetarian option, they had to make the difficult decision to take it off the menu. Still, there was a small storm of outrage on their social media from disappointed customers. The CEO of the restaurant chain then made a very smart decision. He wrote a sympathetic and lengthy answer why, precisely on what reasoning was behind taking down the vegetarian option. He also offered some alternatives to this vegetarian option, some other vegetarian meals, and he also added that if there would be enough demand for this menu, he would reconsider reintroducing it. Having taken the time and effort and in a polite and friendly way, most customers recognized that the CEO was taking them seriously and accepted the answer. Now, of course, there still were a couple of sore whiners out there, but you can't please everyone. What I mean to say by this example, saying no can be a viable option, granted you do that in a sympathetic manner and tell why you have to say no. Most people aren't idiots, and if you treat them with respect, they will accept your answer. Everybody deserves a second chance. Now, on social media, there will be many clients who will come across as irritated, angry, typical Karens. There are some clients who can just get under your skin, either by being too demanding, pushy, or just being plain annoying in their demands. While every now and then you should put your foot down with such clients, maybe because it will cost you or your staff too much energy, or it will cost you money. I would, however, advise on giving them a second chance. In my experience, when you have given someone a friendly but stern warning and you're still prepared to help them, you will gain a lot of trust and loyalty. So, everybody deserves a second chance. However, don't cave in to insults, threats, or just plain idiots. The percentage is not too big, but there are customers who just aren't worth keeping. They either threaten you or your staff, or other clients, which is just as worse. They keep insulting you, they don't take no for an answer, even if you're the most reasonable person alive. Or they're just plain idiots. You sometimes have to deal with the wacky out there. And some people just want to take advantage of you, wanting to get reimbursement after reimbursement. With customers like that, don't give in. If you give in too much on social media, your clients will also not respect you. If you have done the following time and time again, be friendly, polite, sympathetic, really get into the customer's head what they want. Try to create an alternative solution if you can't fix a problem right away, and be very transparent why you sometimes have to say no. If you do all that, you will be seen as someone who offers excellent customer service, which becomes part of your personal brand and your reputation, which means in turn your customer base will fight your battles for you. I've seen many times with my old customer, with my old company, we really increased the level of our customer service, which meant that many people knew that we were worth it, we were trustworthy. So when a customer came to us with a complaint that was totally out there, or they were being unreasonable, many of our customer base would fight for us. So if that happens, sit back and enjoy. That's something you have to aspire to. Lastly, if you're a small business and you and your staff themselves don't have the time to invest too much effort in your customer service, don't be afraid to outsource it. Maybe you have to find a virtual assistant, with someone who does customer service and back office chores from a remote location. And at the time of filming this, most people are working from a remote location, mainly their home. They can be hired from freelance websites such as Upwork.com, Fiverr.com, and other such websites. You may need to use software such as Buffer.com, Hubstaff.com, or Salesforce for your virtual assistants, but they are a good idea for small businesses. So, in conclusion, be friendly, polite, and sympathetic. Get to the pain of the client first, then fix the problem. Manage expectations. Try to find an alternative solution if you can't fix a problem at first. And no is a viable option if you're transparent. And lastly, everybody deserves a second chance. If you follow those rules, you will build a loyal customer base. And if you do that, it's also easier to say no to someone who's unreasonable every now and then. This is it. My next video, which will also be posted this week, will be about offering customer service when you're working as a consultant or freelancer, which is more face-to-face and personal instead of working on social media. Leave in the comments any questions you have about dealing with customers on social media, or any horror stories. That's always nice to read. Hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video.